So I'm going to be pretty straightforward. The first 2/3 of this game makes it just seem like an uninteresting 3D platformer, dime a dozen, at least speedrun-wise. For those who have never played this game before, it is full of Spongebob references, and unfortunately I'm not going to be able to go over pretty much any of them since skipping text instantly. But believe me, if you're a fan of the show, this game would be your Valhalla. Alright, now the first thing we're going to do here, you might be wondering why I'm just crouching, or not crouching, but going out of bounds right next to this taxi checkpoint entrance thing. I don't know what it's called. What we're doing is a glitch called disabling the hand. The hand is basically works as an out of bounds kill plane. And by disabling it, we can go out of bounds without it forcing us to be brought back in bounds, which allows us to do pretty much everything in this game. So many skips are predicated upon having the hand disabled.
Like the very first one coming up.
Yeah, this very first spatula, you normally have to go all the way up to this jellyfish rock and then activate a bungee and bungee out. You son of a gun. Bungee down. Because normally, there is a kill plane that is only ignorable by bungee, but since we disabled the hand, we can just kind of do this. And by doing that, we can also warp up to where the bungee normally is, allowing us to skip the first little tutorial area. And grinding up to 100 shiny objects, which only takes a few seconds, but yeah, we don't bother. Shiny objects in this game are very important for the routing because they're required to open up a lot of extra areas and to buy spatulas from Mr. Krabs at any point. Now, in the run, we only buy it from him at the very end, right before the last area. I accidentally jumped and slammed for no reason. Good job. Alright. Now another thing that you might notice we're collecting are these socks. Anybody who's familiar with Mario Sunshine will understand how this works immediately. You collect 10, you trade it in for a gold spatula, just like blue coins in Sunshine. Hidden around the areas, I believe there's 80 total in the game. You collect them, then you transfer them. One too good, you know.
Yeah, it's 80.
Okay.
So you can get 8 from Patrick, 8 from Krabs, and 84 in levels.
Okay. You'd think I'd remember that. I've speedrun this game for almost a full year. Make sure to get... Actually, that's not the box we need to get. So again, we're just kind of going through the stages pretty quickly as normal. Nothing too special until the next trick. Jump up to get that sock. Make sure to open this box, and we're going to do a little thing to skip a cutscene. You die during a cutscene and it just skips the rest of it. Most cutscenes in this game are skippable, but there's a few kind of in-world cutscenes that aren't. Now this is the first real trick of the game in my opinion. This is the lemma skip, and it just seems like a tradition for me to mess this up in a marathon. I didn't. There we go. I've done 2 other marathon runs in my life, and both times I messed that trick up at least twice.
Did you get it?
But I actually got it.
Nice.
Now we moving on to everybody's favorite world or stage, Squidward's house.
So the way Dilemma Skip works is it's just a damage boost, and damage boosts in this game give you an insane amount of speed. So you can just damage boost over, jump, and grab onto the ledge.
On top of that, you can also get 1 jump off of a damage boost, unless you do a damage boost 1 frame, which allows you to get a double jump, but I don't do any of those in my run, since they're very precise and usually don't save much time.
Yeah, the game runs at 60 frames per second, so hitting a 1 frame window is very tricky.
Yep, there's only one, to my knowledge, only one, like, damage boost 1 frame I do, and that's just to get a sock, and every time I mess it up, it's like half a second gone, so it's not a big deal.
The one in Blue again?
Yep, the one in Blue again.
Well,
the reason I got on top of
you get the sock in this one delay.
The reason I got on top of that taxi there instead of just walking up to it, you skip the little opening animation, and it saves about 1 full second. It's a little thing.
Yeah, if you mess it up, then the hand comes back. So
yeah, and you have to re-disable it. It's just a mess. But it's not at all hard to do, so it's not a big deal. Now, right here, we just gotta break these tikis and push these 4 buttons, but by doing it in a certain way, we can get a lot of extra cash from this. Extra shiny objects, I should say. Because we need 2100 to open up the first sort of sub-area that we come across, which is the Sea Needle. And oh boy, I'm playing with very quiet audio on my end, so doing the Sea Needle without the audio cue is going to be a bit tricky. We're going to open it up, and we're going to go and run through most of these tikis again, just so we can get up to the 2100 that I mentioned. Bonus points if I can stop it at exactly 2112.
You've just met the Sponginator.
Click the spatula while we're at it. That was there since we pressed all the buttons the first time. Hit these last 2, and we're on our way. 69. 2069. Let's go. Now, most of these stages kind of have this one, I'm going to call it overarching goal of collecting a certain kind of collectible that are hidden throughout the world. In this one, we have to collect 11 steering wheels to... oh, shoot. Can I get that without falling off? That was very, very unfortunate. I made a bit of a mistake there. I jumped up onto the lamppost before getting the wheel, so that kind of messed a lot of stuff up. Not a big deal, but kind of a pain. Oh, jeez. Can I please not mess this up again? I got this first try, no problem. This jump can be a little dumb. Obviously, I'm not exactly in practice, so things are kind of shaky on my end. I don't mean to make excuses, though. That was just a dumb mistake that I should have been more aware of. There we go. Now, hopefully I can skip this ledge grab. It's a little thing, but it's nice. After that minor hiccup, we're back on track. What I was trying to explain is that there are 11 steering wheels hidden throughout the throughout the level that we can trade in for a golden spatula. And in the modern route, we actually don't do that. Or not the modern route, the world record route, which I believe right now only Shift does. But
been doing the top route, being the only one who do the same, the same route for a while.
Yeah. For those of you who haven't seen the world record of this game, it's completely different than what you're going to see here. There's so much one frames and all that sorts of crazy precise stuff. I'd recommend after you're done watching this, if you're interested, check it out. After the marathon's over. Because it is something special. Anyways, right now we're doing the Sea Needle, and this, in my opinion, is the ultimate rookie killer.
By the way, nice 360 emulation.
Oh, right. Being a 360 player, I just kind of tuned that out. Yeah, that's not supposed to be there. The weird boxes in the sky. That's kind of, yeah. Xbox 360.
Yeah, so if you use an Xbox disc on the 360, it's actually emulating the game. It's not directly, I guess it's reading from the disc, but it's not directly utilizing it like an Xbox would. It's doing an emulation.
Yep.
Nice.
Alright, I messed that up a little bit, but I got a good enough cycle that I can kind of make a fair recovery. So that wasn't the end of the world. Normally it's a lot easier, but I can barely hear my TV, so the audio cues are kind of lost to me. But wasn't a big deal. Maybe lost 5 seconds total. And now we're going to switch to Sandy and keep it going. Downtown, in my opinion, is the least interesting section, because like between Sea Needle and the rest of downtown, you're just kind of walking, holding forward, doing lasso tricks, nothing interesting.
There's another one.
And a lot of the time save just comes from like slightly more optimal movement, or maybe skipping a ledge grab if you're good. Pretty much for the first 2 areas of the game, Sandy is by far the best character. But once we unlock both the upgrades for Spongebob, we don't even see the other 2 characters, except maybe one thing with Patrick.
Oh yeah, so the entire tutorial in downtown was skipped just by because you can grab one of the lasso points way earlier than you normally are supposed to.
Yeah, normally right there you're supposed to go through this big tutorial section for how to use Sandy, but I don't bother. We know what we're doing. We're experts. Alright, that was a little thing right there. A button that you have to slam if you can... Oh, shoot. If you can slam the very side of it, you don't have to go through the full animation. Just a nice little time save.
Yeah, so normally you're supposed to go around, but if you jump in the middle of this bungee, you can just skip the invisible wall that's supposed to form if you get up high enough.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot that was even a thing. I just kind of muscle memory right there. Yeah, normally there's an invisible wall that stops you from jumping to that, and you have to do some, like, lasso stuff, but as Ben mentioned, you just kind of go under it.
There's another one.
Oh, shoot. Well, that completely messed everything up. Normally you go for a little cycle where you can catch this on the first time up, but I got a ledge grab there, and I was already going slow, so that was kind of a dumb mistake. Excuse me. And right now we're just kind of going through rooftops. I wouldn't call it normally, but nothing that's like crazy out of nowhere. Wow, okay, that's extremely bad. Okay, still made it. That, for those who weren't paying attention, that robot pushed the target bot that we normally use to climb up way to the right, so that made that jump a little nervous, but I've actually never seen it get pushed that far.
There's another one.
What a good game. I've never seen that before.
Mm-hmm. It's actually possible. I've never seen this happen to me, but I've had it happen to a friend of mine, Alloy. He had the robot actually get pushed off the rooftop, killing the run since he couldn't get up there at all without the robot. Kind of a rough time, but it happens.
The bounce, the trampoline.
Yeah, but you have to go around completely.
It shouldn't be. You shouldn't have to.
Maybe we're thinking of something else. I don't know. Either way, we're almost done with downtown. We just got to clear out this lighthouse section, which is nice and quick. Normally what happens is that you spawn, you kill a wave of enemies, and you go down another floor. But while you're falling, you have to be at a certain height before spawners will start spawning. So if you hit the things first thing, hit the spawners first thing, hit the things, you can just, oh shoot. Oh, I did this completely wrong, my bad. There we go. You can hit the spawners before they actually start spawning enemies, and you don't have to deal with a lot. Unfortunately, I made a bit of a mistake with what I did, so I only killed one of the spawners quickly, so there's more enemies than normal. But it happens. That also puts me down on shiny objects a bit, but we should still be fine since the route I'm using kind of adds a little extra. Anyways, now we warp back to the start, trade in our 11 steering wheels to Mrs. Puff, and we can get another spatula, and move on to what is, in my opinion, the most interesting stage of it.
Is it SpongeBob's house?
Yes, it is SpongeBob's house. You guessed it.
Perfect.
Gotta do oat skip. No one's gonna understand that meme.
Hey.
I'm just gonna.
Did you just say boat skip?
Oat skip. O-T-E.
Oat skip. Oh.
Ah, the classic. Anyways. We just talked to Patrick to initiate the sock side quest, and now we're in Goo Lagoon. Now this has one major trick that defines the early game, and anybody who runs this game for serious, this is always, like, this is the first point where it's like, do you have a run? Because everything we've gone through so far, though kind of tough, with just a little bit of practice, you get consistent. But we're coming up on a trick called Sponge Glide, where by doing a slam, you can get stuck in basically a falling animation, but you end up going backwards instead of falling down. and it allows us to get way over to that area. But it's rather precise and kind of hard to pull off. But first, ooh, 1 frame first try, heck yeah. Get that sock,
Nice.
and now I'm actually going to quiet and focus here and try to get the setup correct. Ah, it's a good try. Ooh, okay, we got it. Ugh, that trick can be very difficult and the biggest time loss of early game that there usually will be. Ooh, am I too far left?
Try.
Am I fine? I'm fine? Okay, I'm fine. Okay, we're gonna do a second one here. This one is far easier since there's no precise setup. You just jump and slam. And you might be wondering why I did that one. It looks like we're going out of bounds. We are not. There's a trigger there that normally you hit by throwing the melon and hitting that catapult, but by sponge gliding into it, we can come into the pier from the backside. And the pier has a lot of spatulas, a lot of little things you got to do, and coming from the back basically allows you to do it in a much faster order without checking back to Mr. Krabs every task. As you saw, I just cleared out bumper boats, which is normally the last thing you do in pier. Hit this checkpoint. And we're going to get on this slide, which we're going to use this to quickly get to the back side of the pier and get under the pier. Now, normally to get the spatula under the pier, you have to use Ice Fruit with Patrick, but we ain't about that. Using a fairly easy jump from the slide, you can get down here and get it without the Ice Fruit.
Oh, that's how you're supposed to do it normally.
I know, you speedrun it for so long, you forget how it actually works.
Actually, I never played it casually, that's why.
Oh, interesting. Alright, well, next up we have this little tower climb. It can be a little tough, but nothing special. Normally you have to pay money to spawn a trampoline to get up here, but with some clever jumps that I guess I'm not good at. Come on.
Yeah, those flags are solid, so you can jump up them.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird things in this game that doesn't really make sense to be solid, but they're super nice that they are. Oh, I almost got it there. That actually took me more tries than Sponge Glide. That was a little embarrassing, but alright. And now since we collected the under the pier spout, we can warp back there, take us back to the back of the pier, but this time, for Patrick.
Yeah, that jump up to the tower is one that takes a little bit of time to learn.
Yeah. It's a little tough, but I got it in a, not a fast manner, but an acceptable manner. Now right here, we throw this little Thunder Tiki to trigger this first cutscene, and as we went over in Jellyfish Field, you die during an in-stage cutscene and you skip it. So that's good. Get the spat from Mr. Krabs for clearing out bumper boats, and we move on. And once again, coming from the back of the pier allows us to go into the back of the sea caves, which normally you get a spatula for completing all of it. But we came from the back, which allows us to grab it, get in the box. And we did this entire subsection. Other than collecting the 3 socks that are in there, we basically 100% the sea caves. How's that for fast?
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy!
Alright, now we get that spatula, and we got 2 more socks, and then we're actually going to warp back to Bikini Bottom and do the first major boss fight.
Oh, again!
Warp back to Patrick, and we're going to trade in our first 10 socks. And that should put us up to 19. And now, we enter the Poseidon. In my opinion, out of all the run, this is the least interesting. Because this boss fight, there's nothing you can do to really speed it up other than simply being in the right spot when it should attack. And there's a lot of waiting, and it's just not very interesting. So, we just gotta get through it. Trying to think of what I can talk about. Wow.
Now the robot's taking a beating out there.
The most there really is to this boss fight is that There's specific places you can stand to make it attack you slightly
The
quicker.
robot better
But
change
in the end, a
tactics
difference
and
between a
fast.
flawless Poseidon and an average Poseidon is maybe 3 seconds. It's very, very basic.
Yeah, the fight's entirely manipulation.
In,
The old
unlike the second boss
clothesline
fight, where it can be inconsistent and rather difficult, the manipulations on this are very straightforward, nothing complex.
The robot's losing its
So it's
head.
rather dull right now.
What a shocking
Get a
takedown
Resident
by
Secret in the
Patrick.
chat. But I promise, once we get past the second major boss, things are going to go crazy. A major trick that characterizes what this game is as a speedrun doesn't come into the last third, but it'll blow you away. I promise. Stick around. There we go. Shoot. Slammed a tiny bit too early, so I lost some time there. Not a big deal. Can you bump up the mic? Here. Yeah, sorry, I haven't been talking directly into the mic a bit. My setup is a little weird. My apologies. I'll just try to, if I'm saying something, try to look into the mic a bit better. That's all I have to do.
Wow, I've never seen such an electrifying match.
I haven't dropped any frames yet, that's good. I was a little worried that my internet would kind of suck while attempting this, but so far it's been fine. And now we're up to the third phase of the boss fight. There's nothing too different about this. All that's really changed is instead of throwing the head into the scoreboard, we just slam and then do a dash. I missed. Good
What an
job.
opening for a guy literally filled with
Okay.
openings. Oh, what an uppercut.
Oh shoot, right. Well, that's a major mistake. Not a major mistake, I should say. That cost me about a second, though. I forgot that we have to manipulate the Sandy into the wall right there. I was kind of autopiloting for the first segment, and we're not on the first segment, obviously.
Nice
God.
move by Spongebob. This match is just about over.
Ugh. Yeah. Getting a hit in the boss fight really sucks because it resets the attack cycle, and you can only attack at one point during the attack cycle, so it loses a lot of time. Luckily, at least in this fight, getting hit almost never happens. We're free! Alright, now we can actually get back to the interesting parts of the run, starting with Sandy's Tree Dome. Much like the lighthouse, you just come in, kill all the enemies, and then move on. Sandy's Tree Dome is a bit more interesting than Lighthouse, though, because it's kind of a specific flow of events you have to do. Oh, I forgot to mention, after beating the first boss, you unlock a move called the Bubble Bowl, which, as you saw at the beginning of the fight, I used it to kill a spawner. And if I can get a good angle here... way too far left. A super cool swag strat you can do is bounce the Bubble Bowl off the root of the tree and kill that robot without jumping up and hitting him. It barely saves any time, but you look cool while you do it. Now, you know, you look at this and you're like, oh, we're up to Area 2. We're going to do the Area 2 segments like Murmalair or Sand Mountain. Yeah, no. Actually, we're going to say F's Area 2, and we're going to go straight to Area 3. How are we going to do that, you might ask, without Oh, that's a good mistake to make. My controller's been acting up. I'm going to blame it on the controller. A little more deliberate than I did the first time. Oh, there we go. So we're using a little trick called Sponge Ball storage to activate the Sponge Ball way up here. Do a neat little bounce off the scenery. And get on top of the Chum Bucket. And now we're in Area 3. Normally, Area 3 is blocked off by the Industrial Park where we have to fight Robo Patrick, but using that, we were able to just get in without doing any of that crap. Now, we're just going to go ahead and chum into the cum bucket. Good job, idiot. It's such a... Okay. Me being unable to talk... Oh, shoot. Me being unable to talk aside. Grab the spatula. And you can also see the final boss door right there. We ain't going in there for a little while.
Yeah, you kind kind of need 53 more spatulas. 52.
I'm not gonna do math. leave that to the people who are good at it. Anyways, now much like the tree dome, we gotta clear out the Krusty Krab. Pretty simple stuff. We're just kind of cleaning up the open. Wow, kind of an unlucky hit.
There's nothing like the smell of bubbles in the morning.
Now we're coming up on what is, in my opinion, the hardest non-cruise segment of the game. You might also wonder why I just warped back to the first spatula. Being in the overworld at all just gives you brings you to Mr. Krabs after that, which is a nice little convenient thing. Now we're going to hit this for some extra money. Sorry about that. And then the hardest area of the game. Welcome to Dream. Now, there's one trick in Dream that I am notorious in the community for messing up. I had like what oil skip. I had what was considered at the time a really good time without using this trick. I am very poor at that, so forgive me if this takes a few tries. I am not the best.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, I can do the other two pretty consistently. Slide skip I have no problem with, and forbidden, though I do mess it up from time to time, I'm fine. Oil skip,
So
very necessary.
oil skip is another damage boost. You slide off the you also slide off the edge, so that way you have multiple frames to be able to input a bubble bash, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so bash is the one going up, slam is the one going down.
There we go. Okay, third try, I think. I wasn't paying attention. I was really focused on getting that. Yep,
Yeah, it was third try.
that was rough. Could have been worse, but obviously it also could have been better. Okay, so using that, we were able to get to the very end of the dreamscape, get that spatula that was right there, and collect this one from Patrick for doing the hardest task in the game, skipping a text box. Now there are two more tricks we have to do in this overworld of Dream, and that is Forbidden Skip, which I'm only going to try once. If I mess it up, I'll just take it casually since it doesn't lose that much time. Ooh, nice. Yep, just a little, I just did that. Okay. Oh my god, I am a fool.
Did you go slide skip?
Nope. 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 Alright, I'm not doing Forbidden again. So, for those who weren't paying attention...
Twice.
For those who weren't paying attention, I was supposed to jump up to that
Oh, you
spatula.
You missed the spatula, yeah. If you don't, if you don't get full jumps, then you can miss that spatula, and that's not fun.
Shoot, okay, my control... I can actually blame that on the controller. Well, that turned something cool into something very dumb. Yay, I showed off both Forbidden Skip and the casual way. Let's go, boys. Alright, well, maybe we can get a first try. Frickin'... Oh, sorry about the Discord message. I should turn that off. See if I can get a first try slide skip at least. Oop. Ah, shoot. Of course, nothing in Dream ever comes first try.
Dream is
Yeah.
one of the worst areas of speedrunner.
Yeah, because all three of the tricks are kind of hard to get good at. And the thing is, the better you get, it's not like you get better at the tricks, because you just route in harder tricks. There we go. Oh shit. Okay, well, that's not a big deal. Actually, we can just wait for the next one. And all slide skip does is allow us to get up here without paying money. And now we can finally move on to an easier part of Dream. Sandy Nut. First we unlock Squid's Dream so we can warp back here later. Alright, we come here. My brain broke for a minute forgetting where to warp. Now, make sure not to pay this clam. I've made that mistake twice before, once in a frickin' race. It's a very bad mistake to make. Ooh, my money's a little low, so we're gonna hit one of these.
Oh, you do this version of
Sandy Nut.
Dream.
Yeah.
Is it faster or no?
Faster than the glide? Barely. Doing Sandy Knot itself is slower, but what it allows you to do in the route, like, is just a tiny bit quicker. So, obviously I'm going to do it because I also mess up the glide a little bit, not too bad. Basically what I'm doing, I fly over here with the Sandy Lasso, hit an invisible checkpoint. I should have hit it. That felt right. And if I did everything correct, I should kill myself. Shoot, 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 shoot. There we go. And we should spawn on top of the magic nut.
What Black was trying to do is hit a checkpoint.
Yeah. Ah! Of course. Nothing in Dream ever comes first try. I swear to God.
Did it not work?
Yeah, I must not have hit the proper checkpoint. Normally I don't have trouble with this, but you know what? There's a first time for everything. Alright. Now, I'm gonna hope I hit it that time. If I didn't, I'm gonna be a little angry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Jump up. Put your head through it. No.
There's
Oh, come on.
nothing a
Why is
little
this?
girl can't handle.
Oh my goodness.
No.
I practiced this beforehand too. That's the weird part. Like, this was something I put a decent bit of time into first. Yeah, it's not working, and it's kind of frustrating me. I'm gonna... Out of all the stuff, I expected to actually get this one pretty quickly, but... Can't have nice things. Okay. If that didn't work, I'm gonna be very confused. The thing is about the route, I really don't know if I could move this around and just do the glide later. No, I know what I could do if I do need it, but this kind of sucks. There we go! Okay, that took way too long. I'm sorry, that should not have happened. That was actually just a mistake. Okay, hopefully Murmelair will go better. That was just embarrassing. Anyways. Hello, Barnacle Boy. I'm gonna go ahead and go into the Murmelair, and in my opinion, this is, like, I don't want to call it the least interesting, but the most... I don't know. I don't even know how to describe Murmelair. It's something unusual. Because normally this is supposed to be like a very puzzle-heavy section, but since we skipped basically all the puzzles, we're basically just going from point to point to point. So it's really nothing special. Now what I did there, that's something I actually knew about back when I played this game casually as a kid. You don't have to go around and hit all the bowling shots. You can just jump up there, get the ledge grab, and be fine. Murmelair is another, like, very mellow section of the run, which after Dream it is kind of nice.
Thankfully, if you miss that jump, there is a backup that isn't too hard.
Yeah. Since the hand is disabled, you can climb up all the scenery.
Zone.
Yeah. You can just climb up some of the scenery and get up to there and only lose like 3 or 4 seconds. Or more than that, but still not very much. Now we're gonna do this little extra puzzle as Patrick. I don't know why I went to this one first. I guess it doesn't really matter. Did I mess it up? I didn't mess it up. I threw that a little earlier than I was supposed to, but that's fine. We're just hitting these 3 buttons so Mermaid Man can sleep. And give us a free golden spatula. I'm a little nervous because my controller's really been holding forward, like, without me doing it a lot, so I'm nervous about when cruise boosting comes along. Hopefully I'll be fine. Hopefully I'll be fine.
Yeah. Hopefully. Oh yeah, by the way, when you destroy the watermelons, they'll respawn instantly, so
Yeah,
it saves a little bit of time.
just so you don't have to accidentally wait for it to go away yourself. Okay, I wanted to make sure not to accidentally walk forward there. And yet another puzzle that... This puzzle's a little dumb. The solution to it is literally just press all the buttons one time. So obviously we just... Oh. Can I destroy that, or is it just not... Okay. Sorry, I've been coughing a little bit. My throat's been a little scratchy. Did I mess it up? Did I actually mess this up? I did.
What a nice spot for watermelon to get to.
There we go. I went on about how easy the solution is, and then I messed it up. How about that? That's just wonderful.
Ah.
I can't even blame the controller on that one. That was just me being bad. God dang it.
There we go.
Alright, now this is just a little slide trick where we go into a loading zone. Nice and easy. Oh, sorry, I am dropping frames.
So you just build up speed off the slide, and then you can.
And then you boost right into the prawn room. The warp zone for the prawn room.
Gary.
Right. There will be no fighting prawn. At least not.
Oh shoot. That was a dumb mistake. Ugh. I'm sorry, my voice is getting really scratchy. Just nothing I can really do about it. There we go. Now right here, normally you have to go through these two tunnels, but using some clever environment manipulation... Ow. Come on. There we go. 3 tries better than 4, I guess. I don't know. But using some clever environmental manipulation, we can come right up here without having to worry. Alright, next up, we just gotta go through this little room. Some of you may recognize it if you played this game as a kid. This is Ballroom. In my route, we don't do Ballroom at all. In most good players' routes, they do a thing called Ballroom Clip. Ballroom Clip is where you spawn the ball, get it off the track, get it up against the little tomb or whatever holding the spatula, and by using a very precise cruise boost, you can glitch yourself inside the thing with the spatula and get it without doing the huge puzzle. It saves a lot of time, but it's also very difficult. So I don't do it. Now we press the last button, get the spatula from the computer, and we move on to Sand Mountain. I actually had to think about where we were going next. Just gonna get the spatula on top of Shady Shoals real quick. Not even that hard. You just spawn these blocks, get on top, bada boom, bada bang. Whew. Now, how's my money looking?
1844.
Oh, wow. Oh, that is absolutely
Yeah, you have
fantastic.
plenty.
Normally I have, like, right around 15. Yeah. As Ven said, you need only 1,500. That's usually what I'm around, but I am very, very good on money right now. Let me go ahead and hit this Sandman. Spawn the sock. And then we enter into another kind of uninteresting segment of the game, in my opinion. Ooh. Again, I'm sorry I'm dropping a few frames every here and there.
I've gone.
Alright. All these ooh-woos in chat. No! Just quoting Bohemian Rhapsody. Specific name, but shoutouts to anybody who gets that. You are sentenced to 1 high five. Anyways. Sand Mountain's pretty basic. Really, we just go down, we collect the 4, Oh, shoot. I almost fell off right there. Falling off on Sand Mountain, since we have the hand disabled, there's no way to get back on the slide if you're down there. So you have to reload the entire... Oh, shoot. I hope I don't die. I'm a little low on HP, so I'm going to collect a health recovery right up here. Use a little bit of time, but obviously if you die, it's way, way worse. And I took an unneeded hit. Alright, I'm going to really have to play it safe. Because again, if I die, we lose a lot of time. Get around these thunderclouds. There you go. Sorry about that. That was a pretty rough Sand Mountain fight. Messed it up quite a bit. Luckily, Sand Mountain's pretty forgiving. Because little mistakes are never going to screw you out of it as long as you don't die. Now, normally I'd actually have to hit an extra Tiki stack here, but because I'm just so good on money, I don't even got to worry about that. Now we're going to collect 2 more spatulas in the Lodge at Sand Mountain, and then we're actually going to move on to the next major boss fight. And after that, that's when the run really gets intense. We're going to see a lot of very precise inputs, a frame-perfect trick we do very, very frequently. And it's just going to be some good stuff. So, if you're not too into the run yet, you will be. It gets a lot more intense. Because I know for a lot of viewers, it can be kind of hard to get into the run, because the first 2/3, very straightforward, like outside of the tricks. It's very boring, you're just kind of holding forward, doing very little things. I know when I first started running, I was always just waiting for the fun part. But when you get good, doing good movement is kind of its own reward. Anyways, I'm just kind of vamping because we have another 5-minute boss fight where I really don't have much I can talk about. So, yeah. This is RoboPatrick. RoboPatrick is, for a long time, has been considered the ultimate instance of RNG in the run. For a long time, there's no consistent way to make him go where you want. Now, recently, some players kind of put their minds together and figured out a consistent setup for him for the 3rd phase. But obviously, I'm not going to get into that until we're at the 3rd phase. Just know for now, where he lands after doing that spin attack will matter. It will matter a lot. For the 1st phase, since we can bowl across the map, it doesn't affect the time at all. And much like Robo Sandy, getting hit here will reset his attack cycles, which means your chance to attack him comes far later. So it's very important not to get hit at any point during this fight. Except, I will get into, there is one point as Sandy where you actually do want to get hit.
2 points.
Oh yeah, 2 points, my bad. Because he does it multiple times. Thank you for correcting me. Okay.
No, I'm actually just being a pain because it's the same idea, just happened twice.
Yeah. There we go. Now Sandy time.
What is Sandy
The
going
Sandy
to do
section of
to
this fight is
get
pretty much the
SpongeBob unfrozen?
exact same as the Spongebob until we actually get our first hit on him. He spins
Go
around.
see Joe and around
I always
you
like to just hang
go.
it up here since nothing more happens. Drago, what you hecking about? Ooh. Was someone hosted? How much? Oh shoot, I need to focus. Alright, right here we want to get hit.
That hot goo could melt anything.
And normally you have to spew that goo for a while, but you actually... Sorry, I'm reading chat. Well, it's really cool that you hosted during my run. I really appreciate that. That's really cool. Wow, okay, I completely lost focus for a minute.
And the robot is down.
When you hit attack Patrick, he spawns a bunch of crates. Or not when you. Oh my goodness, my brain
One
right
more
now.
douse with that stuff.
3rd time's the charm.
SpongeBob will be back in the ring.
Spins around. There's goo. You can't attack him in the goo because you'll fall in. You grab these lasso things and it'll spawn a crate. I'm gonna spawn a bunch of crates, which is why I'm blasting between these two while I wait for him to spin, so there will be crates where he stops, so I can get him, and then actually attack without falling into the goo. I'm sorry, this talk about hosting completely threw me off. Alright, now for the hard phase. This is the second Spongebob section. Now, right here, you notice that the floor is entirely covered in goo, and unlike the sandy fight where you can just spawn crates and not really have to worry, wherever he stops, I have to get right up to there and chuck a sponge ball to hit him. The issue is that you have to be pretty dang close to him to actually hit him with the sponge ball. Nice! Okay, he stopped right where I wanted him. If I was standing right there and he ended up at the back of the map, I'd have to go all the way around the conveyor belts to hit him, and that loses a ton of time. And if he goes far enough back that I can't get there in time, he could get up and I have to go through all the attack cycles again. This is the instance of RNG that I was talking about. It's pseudo RNG, but it's still kind of RNG. It's very tricky to get him to stop exactly what you want him. Yeah, luck-based is a better term. Since there's no, like, easy human way to determine it, until recently, there was a manipulation that was far more consistent discovered by kind of a conjoined effort between Shift and Alex, I believe. But I'm not using it since I haven't practiced it, I'm not good at it.
That's right.
Yeah. Right, there's a lot to explain for this third phase, so it's kind of weird. I was gonna stop back there, yep. You know what, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Oh, the last one was bad.
Yep, he didn't spawn in a horrible place, but still... Oh, shoot. Oh, God, miss. That could have been worse. Now, we in for a good time. If you hear me flicking my buttons, that just means I'm practicing the hand motions for a cruise... Oh. Great. Wrong warp. Or not wrong warp, but I mean, miss menu. That's the term. I'm sorry if the game looks a little choppy. My computer isn't the best. And I have to have a couple things running while I do this. Alright. Now, this... If I can get it. Yeah. This is cruise boosting. If you're wondering why I'm moving so much faster now after shooting those rockets at the walls, what I'm doing is both a bubble bolt and the new move we just got, the cruise missile, on the same exact frame, twice in a row, up against a wall, the second one with a strafe. That strafe, the momentum of the strafe is added to my basic movement. I'm actually going to take a moment to actually explain what's going on. I'm pressing nothing and I'm still moving forward. That's because the momentum from the cruise... the momentum from the strafe is carried on after doing the 2 frame-perfect inputs. Or the 2 attacks in the same frame. So that's added to everything I do. So, if I'm just holding forward... I'm moving twice my speed. If I'm standing still, I'm moving my normal speed. And obviously, if I'm holding right, I'm going forward my normal speed and right my normal speed. Obviously, this is used to get to incredibly weird places that you're not supposed to, get around the world much faster, and do all sorts of crazy stuff. As I mentioned, though, it's a little hard to get good at since there's a lot to manage, and newer players often take a long time to get good at getting smooth, consistent first try cruise boosts. I don't think I've even gotten a first try cruise boost yet. I've made a lot of mistakes, but the biggest gap of saving time in the last third of the game is getting really good at getting a cruise boost every time. A fast cruise boost every time, because there are slower ones if you don't get a good strafe momentum. Now right here, it's kind of a annoying segment. Okay. That chuck right there that shoots the missile can really screw a lot of stuff up. Now, a lot of the good players, me included in the past, would do this museum section as Spongebob, but I practiced it, I was doing really poor, and I was doing just fine at Sandy Museum, so I'm just going to swallow 20 seconds and do this trick as Sandy instead. Normally in Museum you have to turn off all these lasers and hit a bunch of buttons and do all sorts of weird stuff. But using a neat little glitch with ledge grabs and these moving tires... Oh, am I too slow? Ooh, wow, that was super close. I clutched the shit out of that. Alright. So using the ledge grab animation and getting the tires movement, we were able to go through the laser wall in the middle of the animation rather than having to turn off the laser wall. Obviously, that saves a lot of time and gets us to the museum far quicker. Shoot. This one is a bit tougher. Did I get it? Ah, not quite. I should have been a little further to the left. There we go. Alright, that second one was a little sloppy, but we got it.
Here's another one.
That museum was actually pretty good, not gonna lie. For not doing Standing Museum in quite a long time, I did everything okay. Alright, now we're gonna get this last piece of art. We're back to the, actually, we were never at this section. We were up to Mr. Krabs.
Nice.
Which earlier, if you notice, we hit that button that spawned the spatula that we collected at the beginning of Rock Bottom. Oh, I messed up that cruise boost. Some cruise boosts, if you mess them up, you just got to accept the fact that it's not really going to be worthwhile to get a fast one. Because right there, we walked a very short distance, and grounding out a cruise boost, not really worth it. So if you don't get it first try, just walk. And that is one little thing that makes a difference in running this game. Knowing when to take a cruise boost and when to just say leave it if you're not good enough. It's a little thing, but it's a skill that's worth having. Now right here, I'm just going to climb up here, get another cruise boost.
Number one in the Bikini Bottom scavenger hunt, 3 years running. Thank you.
Oh shoot, I lost a lot of height right there. That was a bad mistake. Alright, not a big deal. Kind of sucks to mess that up, but again, what are you going to do? I lost some height right there, so unfortunately I wasn't able to loop around this section properly. So that did lose a little bit of time, but we're fine. Right there, if you notice, it might be a little hard to notice since I'm not streaming at the best quality, but unfortunately I don't really have a better option. If you're paying attention, you might have noticed that the game kind of lagged out for a moment while I was trying to get that cruise boost. That is the major difference between running on Xbox 360 and the Xbox original. On top of the original having slightly faster loads... Oh shoot, wrong place. It also has much less lag. And there are 2 points, 2 cruise boosts, that one being one of them, where lag makes a notable difference. In my opinion, the hardest cruise boost to do in the game is specifically because the game loves to lag on a very small surface. Anyways, you might notice we came back to Prawn, and you're like, well, why are we here? Are we fighting Prawn? That seems slow. We're not fighting Prawn, because that would be slow. Because for those of you who know Prawn, know this fight, it takes forever. You have to wait for him to stop attacking, and it sucks. But what I'm doing here, by getting out of bounds, I hit an invisible marker, invisible trigger, that's the term. Oh my god, can I please collect this? An invisible trigger that instantly ends the fight just outside the arena.
For some reason, these triggers still exist.
Yeah. My brain broke right there. I forgot where to go. Okay. Sorry. For there are 2 bosses in the game where... 3 bosses, actually. 3 bosses in the game where that trigger exists. I went way too long. That was smart. Where those triggers exist, where if you make contact with them, it instantly ends the fight, and we can utilize all 3 of them. I'm sorry,
There's Dutchman with the last one.
the final boss, actually.
Huh?
The final boss.
Oh, right. Right. There's...
I'd just like to apologize. My internet's not the best, so Ben's kind of cutting out a little bit. Alright. Here we have what is, in my opinion, the most difficult, sort of... I don't even know if you'd call it a trick, but section of the game. This is kids. You have to meet a very precise... Oh, I'm already behind. Okay, let's see. Where's he going? Is he going left or right? Going right. Alright, can I reach? Nice. You have to make a very fucking demanding cycle. Pardon my language. Okay. Oh, come on! Oh, that was so close to being good. Alright, can I get the recovery? Oh my goodness,
Oh, what happened?
I just slammed boosted a tiny bit too late. Shoot.
These kids are really obnoxious.
Yeah, this is such a difficult part in my opinion, because you have to wait an incredibly long time for some of these without cruise boost movement, but it's so hard to hit him with cruise boost movement, so it's kind of like, it's the kind of thing where you're damned if you do, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Oh, I'm gonna die. That's great. Where's that put? Oh, that's not a big deal. Like, I think I can get a cruise boost off this. Yeah, I forgot to turn my camera, so I died right there. Yeah. Normally you're supposed to turn your camera so you get caught on the stairs instead of falling to the left, but made a little mistake, not a big deal. I held forward there when I shouldn't have. I'm making a lot of little mistakes, which is kind of disappointing myself, but because I should be doing better. But we all make mistakes. Get the spatula from Larry for killing that robot on the boxes. And then we're going to move on to finish up the last spatula in downtown, which is nothing special. Ah, yes, I got the first frame. You know it's the first frame of SpongeBob's arm. I messed it up. Okay.
What?
When you use the cruise bubble and SpongeBob's arms don't spawn, that means you got it the first frame possible. But I actually ended up hitting the back of the box instead of the side, which didn't trigger the platform to spawn.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah. It's actually really good if you get it, because it means you went really fast.
It's hilarious. I've never seen that.
Anyways, we finished up downtown. Now we're moving on to the rest of Jellyfish Fields. I'd like to once again apologize. I know I'm dropping frames. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm really, really sorry to all who are watching the marathon. Nice. That was actually really good. Very smooth movement. Alright. Now, using a cruise boost, we can just kind of go along this outside. Instead of, for those who know this game, normally you have to go through all these caves over here, and it just takes forever, and you have to do it as Patrick unless you use a dumb trick. But with SpongeBob, we can just kind of go around everything. So, here we are. Now from here, if I can just do a kind of tough jump to get back into bounds. There we go. That can be a little tricky. It's not too bad, though. Now, I'm actually going to try this, even though it barely saves any time if I get it. It looks cool as hell. What, I'm on top of the button. I'm on top of the button. I got on top of the button. I don't think I've ever messed it up in that way. Normally, you're just supposed to jump around it, but it's just barely faster to do that little ledge jump and hit the button and then, like, turn your camera in a specific way so you don't lose your cruise boost. I messed up. I messed up and got on top of the button instead of hitting. Oh, shoot. I made another mistake. I'm not playing the best. I'm really not playing the best. I'm pretty much the only person who even does that trick, so it's so, like, for what it's worth, it's not really useful. But I enjoy it, dang it.
Nothing's gonna ever bring me down.
You're the best.
Oh.
Actually, I think I had a cruise boost right there and just got rid of it for no reason. That was dumb. Oh, shoot, 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 shoot. Ah! I didn't go far enough right, and I triggered the cut. I am playing very poor right now. I am sorry. Gotta get those 1 frames. What I was supposed to do there was go further to the right, not trigger the cutscene, and then jump on that sink. Unfortunately, I triggered the cutscene, got my movement locked, and I kind of, like, had to die there. Bad mistake, but it happens. I'm not really doing this game justice. I'm making a lot of bad mistakes. Now, this is actually the last time we properly used Patrick, so I'm gonna say goodbye. I think he appears one more time, but, like, we barely use him. So we're just killing these, or breaking these sinks to drain the lake. Actually got some really good RNG right there. And if you do ballroom clip, you don't even have to do this section since it's faster, and this is the, this is actually if done correctly, this is the slowest spatula in all of late game, which is kind of crazy. Because it's still not that slow at all.
It would be nice to not have to do this. Oh, wait, you can replace this with ballroom clip.
Yeah, that's what happens. That's why, like, the top players don't do it anymore. But, unfortunately, I'm not good at ballroom clips, so I couldn't really show it here, and based on how I've been playing so far, it probably would have taken me half an hour. Whatever. I've been trying to play things safe, and I've been still making a lot of dumb mistakes. Oh, wow, that... Alright, I don't have a cruise boost anymore. I got rid of my cruise boost there completely for no reason. I panicked. We all make mistakes. Don't always play the best. Hopefully I can at least close this run nice, because there's still a couple really cool segments that I'd like to show off and actually do them properly. But to do that, I actually have to play well. Now, this is the hardest boss fight in the game. It's so difficult. Hardest boss in the game ever. In any game, ever.
Jellyfish. Yeah,
Yeah.
jelly.
Doing the memes. Also, I don't need to pick up any more money for the rest of the game, so that's nice. I don't know how my money is so, like, unusually high this run. I must have done something extra. Not a big deal. And now that we've done all of Jellyfish Fields, we can move on to Kelp Forest. Now, Kelp Forest in the normal game, casually, is very puzzle heavy. There's a lot to do. And it's pretty complex. In a speedrun, Kelp Forest is a joke. Out of the 9 main areas, I think we actually spend the least time in Kelp Forest because with cruise boosting, we can basically do everything in this stage backwards, which basically means we don't have to solve any puzzles. So we actually do get all but 2 spatulas from the stage, and we do it really, really fast.
Yeah, Kelp Force is so broken.
Mm-hmm. Like, using a cruise boost, I was able to get into this section here. This is actually supposed to be the last thing you do in this entire area. And because we've opened up the box, I can take the Mermaid Man time challenge for the slide, and instead of actually going down the slide like a normal human being, yeah, no. Just gonna get off, grab a cruise boost. I jumped far enough down the slide to where the game thought I was on the slide, but I was still able to get off without falling. And now the game thinks I did the entire slide in about 10 seconds. Go me.
Oh, good thing that that's one of 2 boxes that you don't need to open up both of them. You just need to open up the latter one for it to
That is
work.
true.
The other one's in Blue Lagoon.
Yep.
I think it's
Hey, kid.
Sea Caves? I think it's in Sea Caves.
No. Oh yes. Sorry. I was thinking of something else. You're right. It is the box in Sea Caves. Now, as I mentioned, in the Kelp Forest Swamp, you're supposed to do a bunch of tiki puzzles. Yeah, no. We came from the back. We're already up to the exit of the area. We can hit both the button and collect this spatula, finishing the entire Kelp Swamp. Oh, I warped to the wrong place again. I'm making a lot of little mistakes like that, like mismenuing, bad movement. I'm curious on what my final time's gonna end up being, because I've been playing really rough. But so far we're doing, I think, at least on pace to not go over estimate. I set a very generous estimate because I knew this was gonna be rough. Alright. Now for what is my opinion the hardest cruise boosting section of the game. This is Squid's Dream. If I can get this first try, I win the internet.
Squid's Dream is really difficult. Especially to learn.
Ah, there it is. I went a tad bit too far to the right. I don't get the sock. I used to, but I'm out of practice, so I don't think it's worth it. I just route in, I think I route in the computer room sock that we did way earlier.
Ah, okay.
Okay, that's what I meant to do. Alright. Again, this is... Oh shit, I'm missing this cycle too, that's great.
Yes, there are different, like, the tambourines in here all move. So there's a cycle to go with each of them, and you need a certain cycle in order to get up to the notes at the very top.
Yeah, so like, even a little mistake can cost you a lot of time since you'd have to wait on a cycle.
If
It's
you don't
really
get the
rough.
cruise boost by second try, you're not gonna get the cycle.
Yeah. And we just traded in 3,000 shiny objects for a spatula, and we're gonna go into Flying Dutchman's Graveyard, which is actually a pretty fun segment in my opinion.
Yeah, and Squid Dream, that very first cycle, if you get cruise boost first try, you're actually too fast, so you have to slow down a little bit to make the cycle.
It's really weird.
The graveyard.
It's really weird. Okay. This is the hardest, like, actual cruise boost to get in the game because the game lags and you're up against a really tiny surface. So I'm gonna fumble around with this for a little bit. It lags on 360, yes.
That's gross.
There we go, there. Took me a couple tries, but I got it. Again, a laggy cruise boost and being on a tiny surface makes it really tough.
I need to actually learn some strats when I'm this game again.
Yeah. I might try to come back to it and beat my time. I'm actually enjoying this a lot.
What's your PB?
105.20. I believe I'm 25th place. Everything we're doing here in Flying Dutchman's Graveyard is pretty self-explanatory once you understand, like... If you know how the game goes casually, you know what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of skipping some of the puzzles. Nothing too special to worry about, nothing crazy. Kind of jumping around, moving around at the speed of sound. Spongebob the Hedgehog.
But you're SpongeBob, not Sonic.
Now this next thing we're gonna do is actually gonna be a lot like what we did at the very start of the game in Jellyfish Fields. Because we're gonna be using the hand that disabled the kill plane to grab a spatula and then warp back up to the bungee where you would normally have to go with the spatula. Oh, that's a very slow squid boost. Did I miss? Can I get that from down here? Do I have to go back up? Where is it even? Oh, I can totally get that. What am I doing?
Talking about these bad.
There we go. I missed the spatula on my way down. That's really embarrassing. I don't know. Par for the course based on how I've been playing, but
All
again,
you do is bash.
I know. I was a little concerned, but I figured that out. Now right here we're actually doing a thing called a manual cruise boost. It's the same thing as a regular one, but rather than the rocket instantly exploding on the surface, that's actually really slow one. I can't get this next thing with the slow one. Rather than the god dang it, come on. Rather than the cruise bubble instantly exploding on whatever surface you're up against, you have to manually explode it, hence the term manual cruise boost. Come on, can you get up there, or are you just gonna be a butt? There we go. Oh, I missed! Oh, come on! Really? Oh my goodness. I spent all that time trying to get a good cruise boost, and I still messed it up.
I hate that segment a lot.
Shoot. Why am I still messing this up, man? This is not even that hard, honestly. I'm actually starting to get a little mad at myself because this is not something I should be messing up. Oh my goodness! If I mess this up one more time, I'm just gonna get rid of my cruise boost and do it slowly.
Wall jump?
There we go. That's what I've meant to do, but I kept making dumb mistakes. My apologies. I am not showing this game off at its best, but it's a very, very difficult speedrun. Especially with some of the strats I'm doing, it's a little brutal.
There it is.
Oh, but I got pull boost first try. Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, my PvP has wall jumps.
Oh, you can save some big time there then. Like 20 seconds, easy. Get sniped. Now right here, it's just much like the regular game. We just got to hit the 4 buttons to activate the cannons on the ship. But interestingly, normally what you're supposed to do is then go to the ghost ship, or not the ghost ship, the robot ship, and then destroy their cannons. But in the speedrun, you don't actually have to do that. All the spatulas you can get without doing that. It's completely pointless. Oh shoot. Can I not? There we go. Can I not be bad at this?
The only reason you have to hit the buttons is to activate Dutch.
Well, they also trigger a spatula to spawn.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird. This cutscene you're seeing right here, this is the cutscene that shows if you haven't destroyed their lasers. But having either this cutscene or the success cutscene still ends in unlocking the Flying Dutchman's boss fight. It's weird, we don't really understand why, but we don't care, because it's useful. Now, speaking of Flying Dutchman's boss fight, oh shoot. Speaking of the Flying Dutchman's boss fight, we're not going to fight him either. Much like Prawn, if we can get directly above where you spawn, you can trigger the cutscene without fighting him and instantly get the spatula. So we're just going to get a cruise boost, parkour up the scenery. Sorry about that. That's a little bit of a precise jump. Am I too low? I'm too low. Alright, third time's the charm. Let's go. There we go. That's what you want to do. Much better. And there we go. We skipped the Flying Dutchman's boss fight.
Same idea as with Prawn. You just hit it. There's an invisible trigger that you can use to end the phase immediately.
Exactly.
Or end the fight immediately.
Whoa.
And it's super nice because those two boss fights are both really slow. Now we traded in those last 2 socks with Patrick, we can come into here and start the final boss.
They serve food here, yes.
Now the final boss in this game is actually pretty short. Believe it or not, because there's first, there are 2 segments. There's the combat segment and the brain segment. The combat segment, we can skip using the same kind of trigger nonsense we do with Prawn and Dutchman. So what he's gonna do is gonna karate chop this platform, and then hopefully I can get a giant boost off that. Got it. Glad I did something first try. And now we're on the brain segment. Can I get charter skip? Oh. If I would have actually gotten hit there, it would have saved about 2 seconds.
That was a doozy.
Not a big deal. That's RNG anyway, so I don't expect to get that, like, ever. Alright.
Saves a little bit of time.
By the way, I'm hitting these 3 fuses. Once I hit the 3rd fuse, that's time. So, here's the first fuse. Here we have the 2nd fuse. And once my cruise bubble makes contact with this last 3rd one, that would be, time. Time! There we go. Alright. And that was SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. I'm glad I got to show this game off to a few more people. Really cool that we got the raid during my run. That was really nice. Like, actually, I'm super happy about that. Drago, thanks for letting me run.
There are a lot of tutorials out now. Like, lately, Shift has been doing a huge amount of work releasing, like, beginner-friendly tutorial guides on, like, various tricks of the game. I highly recommend checking those out if you're interested in running this game.
Yeah. If you liked what you saw here and want to try it out yourself, Shiv's channel is exactly what you need to check out.